Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Be Fierce and Try podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about the recent Disneyland races that were there. It was the last time in the foreseeable future that there are Run Disney races at Disneyland. So I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sad about this because I didn't get a bib. I tried, even begged some of the charities, and they all said no. You're not going this year, but I'm here with three of my favorite people on the planet who did run this year. Sharon, Nancy, and Greg, who have all been on the podcast before. But if you guys want to briefly introduce yourself, Sharon.
Hi, I'm Sharon. I am Jill's friend and another Run Disney runner, and also the host of my own podcast, which is called Bib NTR.
I'm Nancy. Met everybody at Run Disney, new friends and family, and I do not have a podcast.
Yep. I'm Greg. Run Disney. I would say I really enjoy Run Disney, and all these are my friends that we met at Disney over the years.
And I think among the four of us, if I do the math right, I think we probably have close to 300, maybe 400 finish lines at Disney behind us.
Probably.
Yeah, Disney's great. It adds up really fast. When you get 3 or 4 finish lines in a weekend, they just kind of click right off. And,
it was funny when you were talking about going to a marathon, thinking about just getting one medal for running a marathon. You were like,
I know, right?
I was on a disappointment to run a marathon and not come back out with 6 medals. That's really disappointing.
Well, yes. That's why I love that a lot of the races, the larger local races, they will have multiple events that are like, usually you can get 2 of them in. And a lot of times if you do more than one, you get a third medal. So I'm like, at least, it feels more at home. But yeah, like the Ironman stuff, you just get one and it's a lot of work for that one medal.
At least it's a really big medal.
But it's not always.
Really? I've always seen yours when they're really
some
big.
of them like
to be huge. Yeah, I don't think they've made
the World Championship ones are pretty substantial, but the non-World Championship ones, some of them are not as impressive as the Disney ones.
That's how I feel about my Boston medal. I mean, it's very old, but it's like an old school medal. It's just like thing.
Yeah. My London Marathon one's the same way. It's like that compared to. Yeah. I mean, they're very valuable medals. Don't get me wrong. And we don't do this for the medals, but hashtag you can never have enough bling. All right, so let's get into it. All 3 of you ran the races, and did you all do all 3 races?
I just did the challenge.
Nancy's the diehard.
Yeah.
You did all 3. Greg and Sharon, you did the challenge. And this is the thing that fascinates me with Run Disney is you only did the challenge. Did any of you stay for the yoga?
No. The yoga
it was chilly.
Well, it's like always chilly.
Yeah, I think it was like 50.
2 years ago when I did it, there was raining.
Yeah.
Ew.
I've done it there. I liked it.
I have too. I did it there at Halloween.
Yeah, I love the yoga event there. I mean, I like the ones in Florida too, but there's something about being in front of that castle on the brick instead of the pavement at, 5:30 in the morning? Yeah. It's small. It's cozy. The first time we were at Disneyland, we walked through the train station and we were all excited, and we had just gotten off the plane and we're like, are we in the right park? Like, where's the castle?
So tiny.
The one in Florida is much bigger. Okay.
Much bigger.
So overall experience, we've done these race recaps a few times. What'd you think?
We should start with the expo.
Yes.
All right. Well,
because there's lots of comments on the expo, I think.
There's always lots of comments on the expo, but like overall for the weekend, would you do it again?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I'm sad I've missed the other ones now. After
you're
this
sad
one,
you're missing. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Hopefully it does come back eventually. I think, what's the current construction timeline? It's like the next 3 years or something, right?
That's what I heard people saying. I heard people saying that, and then you never know.
Yeah, well, Disney does have a habit of taking away things temporarily, and then temporarily becomes permanent.
And I heard there was, maybe this is just a rumor, that last time the long hiatus was because there was like a dust up with the city of Anaheim.
I heard that too.
I've heard a
And
lot of stories. That's one of them.
and this time the mayor of Anaheim was at the start line with this.
She
Did she run? Did she run?
She
Yeah.
ran
Or-
last. Yeah, she ran last time too.
Yeah, she
She got on
yeah.
the stage
So-
and thanked everyone and hopped in the corral.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Disney has had like an on again, off again relationship with Anaheim over the years. Right? Okay, so the expo.
Greg
So
and I
they
were
let us in
probably
early.
Greg and I were probably in the first 10 people. It was
Yeah.
like
I don't 0% surprised by that.
these
Nancy
Yeah,
wrote
I was
me,
gonna
and
say,
it
I am
was
not
like,
at all surprised. Nancy is always
she
in the
was there
first
like
3
2
people.
hours before it opened.
well, I
I
don't
was
know if it
like-
was like the time difference. I was like, yeah, I couldn't sleep, but I was not first, Greg.
She wasn't first,
there were
but she wrote me. I was like, I'm going to show up like half an hour or an hour before it starts. And she's like, oh, I'm already here. And I was still in my hotel. And I'm like, you're kidding me.
yeah.
Well, but it's not like
And
in
she's like, I'm
Florida.
the third in line.
But I mean, it's not like in Florida where like you can't get there before,
Yeah,
what is it,
no,
5:30?
Right.
Because the parking lot's not open. And if you do, we've found out the hard way
Turn you
that they will turn you around, right?
Yes.
Which just means people park on the side of the highway further down. But this being at the hotel, like you could show up 6 hours early if you really wanted to, right?
Yeah. So
But
we were
From when I did
Greg-
it, I seem to recall that like the Club Run Disney crew wasn't nearly as large as it was in Florida.
I don't really know. Nancy, did you know even how they let people in? Because it seemed like they let everybody kind of in, right? When the door opened, was there?
yeah, I
a
mean they
separate
give out
line for
the
Golden Line?
wristbands and
Yeah.
they had a very large list.
On
Yes.
paper,
You know, like a stack of sheets with everybody's name, and they just went down and gave everybody the bracelets. And Greg and I were towards the front, and then they let you inside the building, and you wait a little bit there. So we couldn't tell how long it got. It
Yeah.
looked like that room filled up while we were waiting.
well, I mean, first of all, just so anybody listening knows, this was specifically for the Club Run Disney people that get to get in earlier, but also a lot of the merch sold out before the regular people even got in, so there must have been quite a few of them.
Yeah. So
You never know what we've found at the Disney ones is
Disneyland.
sometimes the sold out stuff was never actually available except for pre-order. Like the
this one,
pins one year they had that problem.
Yeah.
this double, Greg saw it. They had a sweatshirt for the Double Dare with Dumbo. The poor women working there would go back and literally get the big carts full. They couldn't
Yeah.
even hang them up. People were just taking them out of the carts. And then, I mean, Greg and I were there
We're
so
back
early.
to that. I
And
thought we were past that behavior.
I know. And that was just club people.
I was going to say, they sold out of certain sizes of that while Greg and I were in the expo. So like
Was
Sharon
it
said,
still so
the-
backing up?
A line.
Was it still set? Like I haven't been back there in a year. Was it still set up the same way it had been in the past? Like relatively a small area in the convention center.
yes.
Yes.
And the
Exactly.
regular expo is right adjacent to it in the same
Right.
big area. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a purple jacket everybody was after.
Yeah. Yeah. But that shouldn't sell out
Mm-mm.
while the
With-
that
early
should be
people
pre-order
are
either.
there. Yeah.
It wouldn't
Yeah,
be-
The third person in line is still
Yeah.
there. Let's just
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah, you would think that Run Disney does a lot of things really well. I think merch is like consistently one of the things that they struggle with.
Well, yeah, it's like if they have something that people want, because we've been there when there's merchandise nobody would want.
Right.
And this time I thought they actually had decent merchandise, but they didn't have enough of it. And when you're
Well,
selling a
and like
jacket
it's
at 100
predictable. It's pretty predictable the kinds of stuff
Yeah.
people are gonna like
It should
fawn
be.
over.
They're Disney. They have all
Yeah.
kinds of data. They should be able to figure it out.
And
And
the
especially
regular,
like this with it being like
the final.
pre-announced that this race was going away. Anything with that race logo on it or the challenge logo, you would expect was going to sell pretty well.
You would think.
so Sharon
think.
got there and say what happened.
I didn't get there until the next day. I got to Anaheim Thursday. I didn't get to the expo till Friday, which was the 5K day. There was nothing. I mean, they had like whatever they had that was decent was only in like X and XL, which was very little. And then they had no pins except for they had yoga pins and 5K pins left.
Yoga pin? I've never seen a yoga pin.
They had yoga pins and they had pins for the longer distances, but none of the. But I found a saint on Facebook who is sending me a Dumbo pin.
Oh,
isn't that nice?
It sounds kind of like what we got used to in like 2021, 22, 23.
Yeah, it just makes me mad.
Do you remember in the like 2021, 2022, before they started doing the virtual queue thing, people would be camped out like 5 hours in advance of them opening.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It was. And then stuff would, resellers would walk out with an armful of the same thing.
Well, and the pre-sale would be okay for me. Like, I wouldn't mind if you had to do pre-sale, if you could get anything in pre-sale. But like, I like to get pins, and you can only buy like 4 packs of, like, you have to get all of them for each distance, or all of them all together, buy them individually. So you have to spend like $250 if you want pins, which is insane. You can't just buy them. So like, either have enough or actually let people pre-order whatever they want.
Yeah, we started pre-order. We didn't used to pre-order the pins. We started doing it maybe 2 years ago. When Figment? I think it was when Figment was in one of the races.
That was a challenge at Wine and
nearly did not get the Figment pin, and someone had like put it down, and we just like happened to luck into seeing that someone put it down in a random place and picked it up. After that one, and he would have been devastated had he not gotten that pin. It's like that was the only one he would have wanted, right? After that, we just started like ordering the whole set, and if we didn't want one, we'd go back and return it for Disney merchandise credit.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I also thought that the coast to coast merchandise was poor.
Like, coast to coast is always poor, though.
It's so bad, but there was a lot. I think there was quite a few coast to coasters there. I mean, all 3 of us were.
I mean, the medal this year was really cute.
It was good. Yeah, it wasn't just a hunk of metal.
I'm honestly jealous for that medal. And like, if I had been able to do Disneyland, let's be honest, it would have been just a very expensive medal.
Coast to coast medal.
Like, that was the only one I cared about, was the coast to coast one.
I liked last year's better, actually. I mean, it's fine. Really? I liked last year's the most. The one that had like the Walt in the middle and the 2 castles on either side. I like that one better.
Yeah, my coast to coast medal is the suitcase one, and
I remember.
I remember when them being when it came out. I was like, they hyped it up so much. It was going to be a special medal if you did Dopey to Dumbo, and then it came out. I was like, so let down by that one.
Yeah. It's like the worst medal they've done in a long time.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. It's the worst medal I have, anyways.
It's not the best one.
All right. So what else about the expo? So they didn't have much of anything. What about the vendors? Was it pretty full on the vendors?
I mean,
I was going to say, the merchandise they had was good.
Yeah.
It's just they ran out.
You could get it.
They had great merchandise for the moment it lasted.
For 45 seconds. It was great.
Yes. Yeah. For the first 100 people, it was great.
Out of 100,000.
But the 2 of you were in the first 100 people.
I had 2 of the jackets, and I decided I couldn't do another purple jacket because I have the Figment jacket, and I was like, I don't need a purple Dumbo jacket.
Well, and I'm happy that they have the Brooks now, because right after I went to the expo, like the merch area, and saw that everything was sold out, and the people working there were like, I don't know what happened. And they were like, maybe it's because it's the last Disneyland. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. But then I was worried that might mean that the Brooks Disneyland shoes would also sell out. No, they knew what they were doing. They had everything. They hadn't sold out of a single size. They had all they needed.
Brooks seems to be doing a much better job than RunDisney at
estimating
what they need.
Totally.
And I like the setup of Brooks this time, that it wasn't in the expo. It was its own separate tent. So I assume people that didn't have bracelets could go anytime they wanted.
So
with that tent,
The
but
Brooks
I don't know.
No, I think there
didn't
was a
find it.
virtual.
I thought Brooks at
There's a
Disneyland
virtual queue for that.
has been outside the expo, right?
It was.
It
Yeah.
has. It's where it was last time. It's sort of, but it is in a separate area, and
Yeah.
you needed a virtual queue, but only day one.
I was gonna say you needed a virtual queue for that, for the first
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Day two, you didn't, and I walked straight in, and it was not a problem. And I know my size in Brooks very, very well.
They have the sizing area, and they have so many staff who are helpful, and I think they do a great job.
They do.
I do.
I
Brooks has
thought
got to
they
be loving that relationship. That
Yeah.
is
they've got to be. I mean, the shirts are not. I don't know. I have not been overly, and I like the old Run Disney shirts better. I mean, I still prefer the old Champion shirts, but I thought the Run Disney shirts were more comfortable than the new Brooks shirts. But a lot of people seem to like them.
I like the Brooks shirts better. I like the material better.
See, I find them. I think the material's like scratchy.
It's thinner. I think the material's thinner though.
Is it? Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I pulled other ones out, like for winter running.
Yeah, and they still get poles in them, so
It's less shiny. The other ones were shiny.
it is less shiny. It's
Yes.
it's less tech. It's less of a tech material, I think.
That might be why I like it, because I like
Yeah.
to wear them regularly. I don't generally wear them to run in.
Okay, but
I'm up to
they're making
7.
a killing on those.
I'm wondering what's coming up for Princess now.
My
You
8th
know-
pair.
You know
my
they're going to be cute.
I wasn't going to get a pair, and then I saw them, and I was like,
Yep.
I have to get a pair.
See,
I was probably the
Prince-
only man that bought a pair. I'm probably the only guy that bought a pair at the Disneyland.
Of the Disneyland ones? No, you weren't.
Okay, good.
Were you at the parks? Everybody had them on.
I was
The
going to
guy
say,
who modeled
like,
them
the
was a
guys buy
guy,
'em too.
Greg, who showed us.
Yes, they had somebody walking up and down the line wearing the Disneyland shoes. They had a woman and a man wearing them,
You
handing out
showed them?
things.
That's-
Yes, they were showing them off.
Yes.
I thought it was good marketing because I wasn't going to buy them until I saw them, and I was like, oh, well, those don't look
mean,
so bad.
They've been doing that though. I think that's great. Yeah, at Princess, my plan is if I come home with a pin set, pair of the Princess shoes, and the Pandora charms, I will be a happy camper.
Did you pre-order the pin set?
I did.
So you will come home with that.
I will come home with at least
And
that.
the shoes, I'm sure, right? And I'm sure there's no
Yeah.
issue with the shoes. And the
I'm very choosy on what I pre-order because you can't use the discounts on pre-order. And like between DVC and the pass holder and everything else, I'm like, come on, that's a pretty substantial amount.
yeah.
But
Lost.
you can't use it at Disney. Well, you could use the DVC, but you can't use the pass holder discount at Disneyland anyway. So
I'm a
it would have been worth it.
key holder there too.
Of course. You
Yeah,
are.
I did renew that. So John and I were talking, I'm like, I have this. I need to fly out there for a few days just to justify the fact that I still keep renewing it.
I think you should.
We were thinking about last year, we almost laid over on the way back from Kona. We're like, hey, why don't we lay over, because we're going through LA anyways. Why don't we fly to LA and stay for a few days and then get on? And then the reality sunk in of like, do you know how much stuff we bring with
take
us for like these race weekends, including a bike? Have you ever traveled with a bike box? Bike box like needs its own car.
It has wheels, right?
It does, but
Okay.
they're not highway rated.
And LAX is not close to Disneyland. I
Anaheim.
don't think.
It's not bad. It's like a
It's
half
a
hour.
short. Depends on traffic. I'm just going to say that.
I hit a lot of traffic. It was an hour.
Okay.
You flew into LAX, not Orange County? Okay.
I can't. It's the only place I can get to direct is LAX.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we've always flown into LAX.
We fly into LA.
Just American and points gets us there.
Yep.
Huh.
All right. So we started, you said the organization of this race weekend felt like a substantial upgrade over when you and I did it
2 years
3
ago?
weekends ago.
Yeah. In
3
24.
seasons ago, I should say.
In January of 24. I felt like it was, but
Like what
Other
was
people would
different?
say-
What was different that you felt?
I felt like so starting like the let's not, because we go back to the expo, we need to go to bib numbering, but that's a
Jeez.
different that's a different story.
different topic.
Like at the start line, I felt like the pre-show was better. There was still trivia and stuff, but
Yeah.
I felt like and I will say this, for people in the A-B corral, it was fantastic.
See, I think last time we were there, at the first one, I felt like the start line entertainment, and we're comparing it to what we're used to with Disney World. I felt like it was very disorganized last time.
Yeah, it was still smaller race stuff,
Yeah.
but it was better. I thought.
So is
And
it
then-
still like the small state, like the small
Still
like
the
BJ's
small
hut?
stage at the front with only one screen at the very front,
Yeah,
which
Oh,
is
they don't have screens for the back corrals?
nor speakers.
I was going to say, and they can't hear anything either.
they can't.
Yeah. So when I said it's good for the A and B corral, it is.
Do you think
But I
that's
would
because
be-
of the time of day it is?
Yes,
And,
because it's in
like
Anaheim.
where it is?
Totally.
Yeah, it's because it's out on the street of Anaheim, and then the corrals. Is it past D? I don't know. Is on the other side of an intersection even. So I don't even know how you would lay.
Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, it goes all the
So-
way under. That's
Yeah, I
four.
think I described the difference between Run Disney races at Disney World versus Disneyland. Disney World is like going to any of like the Abbott majors. It's like super well organized. It's like well-oiled machine. And once you're like in there, like inside the fences, like they control everything.
Yes.
In California, it's like a really well-run local race.
Yeah, I think of it as the difference between Disney World as a theme park and Disneyland as a theme park. Where like in World you're in the bubble. It's like everything is like once you go through like everything is sort of the same in Disney
Yeah.
quality. And in Disneyland you walk out of the park and you're like at an IHOP. Yeah,
That is true.
and so it's
Whatever
like
that street is, Catella or Harbor is.
both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're it's like you're in the middle of the city and like you might have walked for 10 minutes after getting off Space Mountain and you're in IHOP. So it's sort of like that.
Yes, it's like that. And I don't think there was lights back there either. I think the people on the further back corrals
Really?
only had they had street lights if there's street lights there, but
It's
not,
entirely commercial in that area, isn't it? Like it's not residential.
Hotels. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
hotels.
it's hotels and like, yeah, it just, I don't know.
It's
I would
fun.
hate to be in Corral I.
I think
You
you're
timed that perfectly with me taking a drink. Thank you, Greg.
you're good for like E or F, I think, because that's basically down towards Clementine and like another like you could still run. You could still see you're still in reasonable distance
But
from the
then you start dropping down, right?
yeah,
And
once
I
you
think the
get
street-
a couple blocks away, you're pretty much in no man's land.
But they had a DJ
So-
this time. I thought that was, and then Nancy made good friends with Clarissa. So
Yeah,
we felt
I
like-
saw her running out, not in the race, in just like, when was it? Wednesday
I
when
think
we
that
got there? I was just doing a run,
Thursday after that,
and then she was running, and I just ran into her.
and
He's
Nancy
lovely.
was
She ran-
starstruck.
He's
Nancy
lovely.
was starstruck.
I said, thanks for, you probably hear it all the time, but thanks. You make the mornings great. And she was like, we were running, and she goes, we can stop.
Oh,
Yeah, she was very nice.
She gave us a shout out in the corrals.
That's awesome.
that is awesome.
Do you know if she ran the race?
I think
No,
she
'cause
did.
now-
I don't think she did.
I know she sometimes does.
Yeah.
And we've seen that with
Her
the
son-
Ironman one.
Her son did. Her son did the 5K. I think with the grandma, and her
Her
husband
husband
might have run.
too.
Yeah.
I think
Her husband did.
so.
All right. So, okay, Nancy.
And then on the last day, sorry, you'd have to hear this. On the last day, though, there was a delayed start
Yeah.
I saw that online.
because the person singing the national anthem did not show up.
How
Is
did you
that what it
find out
was?
about that? They didn't say anything. They
'Cause-
didn't.
And then
Sitting where I was,
one of the
I was-
hosts stepped in. One of the hosts stepped in
The
to
guy
sing the
Matt,
and sang it
who's been
with
with
a
Okay.
30-minute
Clarissa
notice.
the last few times, apparently he found out at 3:30 that he was singing, had never sung it before. And he did a pretty good job, I thought.
He did a very good job.
Gave me
At
anxiety.
that point, I'm surprised they didn't just bring out a recording.
Right. Like play it on your phone.
He did an amazing job.
Yeah.
If he had never sang
even
a
know.
song, I mean, I knew because of all the craziness going
Yeah.
on, but
I didn't even know.
his rendition of it, other than knowing that, because they brought somebody else up to kind of co-host for a while,
Yeah.
but it wasn't his normal job.
Okay.
The guy who
Yes.
does trivia at one point went up, and Carissa went in to the Roll
Into the
Disney
crowd.
group and was interviewing people in there, and you could tell they were just stalling.
Right.
And then the guy Matt, who's her co-host, came out and sang and did amazing, but then people found out he had just found out and had never sung it before.
Wow. Well, I mean, kudos to him. Being
Yeah.
out here on the East Coast had a time advantage, right? So, being 3 hours ahead of you guys, I was on the treadmill, I think, watching all the Facebook posts show up and all the people complaining that it was a late start. It started late by like a half hour, right?
Oh, it was 10 minutes.
No,
Yeah,
not that.
it wasn't that long. It really wasn't
Okay.
that long.
I crossed
Because
the
some of the posts were like, we're 30
Well-
minutes in and it still hasn't started yet.
You might be thinking of the 10K, because what happened in the 10K is that the A and B both went, and then they had an injured runner that somebody fell and they had to get evac'd. So they held Corral C for
Okay.
30
That
minutes.
might be it then.
Yeah, they
I
held
didn't know
Corral
that.
C for a really long time because they had somebody out there. So then the Corral C people got like a Corral A experience because the everything was empty because of how long they had to wait. So maybe
Right.
those
So,
people
so maybe
complaining.
at the next race, they're going to be like, can we do that again?
Right.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was 10 minutes. I was freezing because I had taken off my Mylar.
Right.
Yes. Everybody taking their Mylar off.
I took it off. Yeah. At 4:59 thinking, okay, we're going to go. And then I'm like, what is happening? And
We don't have the national anthem going.
Yeah. I was like, why is Clarissa talking to people? What are we doing?
Yeah. So an interesting thing happened. An interesting thing happened after that race. Someone had posted, because I think everyone discarded their Mylars early, and someone was like, "Well, what would happen if I folded it up and put it in my race belt?" And this
mess
big
up your
debate,
timing.
and this people who own timing companies, people who have done it in the past, and their own timing chip worked fine, but they have no idea if the people around them did. And then electrical engineers telling you why it was a bad idea. So people were trying to figure out, like, how do I avoid this happening to me again if they delay again? But
That
that
was
was
funny.
interesting.
No
It's an
other
interesting
race
topic.
I've been to do they tell you to take your Mylar off because it could affect your timing chip. Like New York Roadrunners, they never say it. I mean, I take it off anyway, but I haven't been at a race where a lot of people are wearing Mylars before where they warn people.
Yeah,
for lack
I've
of a
been
better
to
word,
races
take it
where
off.
they will, when they bring your wave up, if you're wearing it, they'll tell you to take it off. But I've never heard an announcement outside of RunDisney, which I always kind of chalked up to, with RunDisney. I think there's a larger percentage of the population that don't do these very often, or maybe it's their first race and they just don't know. But
Or it's their first cold one, right? Because you could weather.
Yeah.
You could run a whole season and not have a cold race.
Yeah, and it's most Mylars are innocuous. It's just plastic. But if you bring like the ones that you buy at like Walmart or Dick's or whatever, those are solar blankets, which are metallic, and it's like those are the ones that they need people to take off. Because it'll affect not just them, but the people around them.
Bring
I
a
still
garbage bag.
I still
Right.
don't understand why they work. It's like my brain is like, how does that make sense? But they do.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
They work a little bit. They work okay.
What,
I think
the
a real blanket works
Mylar?
better. A real blanket works better.
It works well for me. I feel like they're.
Yeah,
It works
I
well
find
for
it
me.
warms me up
okay.
enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's not blanket warm, but
It's not blanket warm. That's what I'm
but
saying.
it warms me up. But like for me, I think like the biggest thing that I get out of the Mylar is just like shielding me from the wind.
The wind. Yeah.
Well, if there's wind, it's end cold. It's awful.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well,
windy
or-
and cold and rainy.
Rainy. Then you need something else because the Mylar obviously helps with the rain, but because it's open, there's one side that's getting rain.
You remember Was it marathon weekend last year?
Weekend last year. That was like the most miserable ever.
It was unfun in the Corral. Like once we got going, it was fine, but in the Corral, it was not fun.
It was rough.
Yeah, it was rough. All right, so let's talk about the 5K. Nancy, you ran the
I like
you
the
ran
5K at Disneyland. You know, it's in
I
the, you
love the
go in the
5K at
park,
Disneyland.
you walk down Main Street, you go left, and like you're right in the park starting. And, you know, they have the
Do
tiny
they still do
stage.
the balloon arch, or is it a
Yes,
proper
they
arch?
did,
Still a balloon arch.
which is, it's kind of weird. You know, it's so different than Disney World. And then you're in the park the whole time. So, you know, it's fun. Now, they did say, and we texted about this, that apparently there were balloon ladies. My watch at the end said 295. Tony said 3.14. But Tony, that couldn't have been. So people were saying the course was short. So according to my watch, it was a little short. He went off for characters, and his watch still said 314. So one would think
Yeah,
it
it was
would have
definitely
been
short.
a lot longer. So I don't
heard
know
they
if it was
shortened
short,
it.
but it was
I heard
short,
they
and they said because they had
Yeah.
balloon ladies for it. Because I don't. This is where it seems like Disneyland has some hiccups. One would think they would know what time the park was open. So, and apparently they shortened it for people in the back because the park was opening. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's the case, but that's what people were saying online.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's
Park opening.
interesting. I'm stuck on the balloon ladies thing. I saw that and I wasn't sure. I was thinking like, is that like the actual balloon ladies, or did
Bikes, maybe.
a couple of runners
Yeah.
like take up the torch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I doubt the actual balloon ladies showed up, but they swept
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
They swept people stop and in the 5K, which is weird.
Yeah, they swept.
Yeah, that is kind of different. But I mean, what time did it start? It was at 5, right?
Mm-hmm. And the park
Was it
opened.
5, Nancy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
That
And
was
the
the
park
same as
opened
the
at
other
8,
days.
right?
But do they have early access for people who stay in Disney
They don't.
No.
hotels?
No, but they let people in at 7, usually.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think they were letting people in before.
They let you in at Disneyland and hold you on Main Street because that central area gets too congested.
So it's the same as Disney World
Yes.
in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the parks that day and we were in the 5K day. We were in the park at 7. We did go to Disneyland. We were in there at 7:30 and we weren't the first ones there.
Eh.
But it's a great route. You're in the parks the whole time. It's fun.
I have to ask, was Jack and Sally out?
I didn't see them.
I don't think so.
See, I thought that was I thought that was so cool. Like at the haunted, you run past the
Yeah.
haunted mansion, and when I did it, Jack was out one day and Sally was out the next day. Like not for a meet and greet, they were behind the fence, but they were out with like the full makeup and everything.
Were you there at Halloween or at the regular Disneyland week?
It was the regular one.
Because
I never did the Halloween one. I registered for it twice and never made it work.
bad timing.
Well, yeah, with it being,
September.
I think this year was what, 2 weeks after? No, last year it was 2 weeks after Lake Placid. I just couldn't
Yeah,
logistically make it work.
Well, when you asked about Jack and Sally, I've been walking in Disneyland right there, like by Pirates. I had Jack surprise me. Like he came up around my shoulder and he was like, boo.
Oh, that's fun.
That's cool.
It was cool. I screamed and asked him to take a selfie.
That's one of the things I like about Disneyland that, I remember as a kid at Disney World they did, but they don't do anymore. It's like the roaming characters.
Yeah, they're everywhere at Disneyland. It's so fun.
Like I think at Disney World, the only place I can really think that does them on a regular basis is now my brain is broken.
Epcot?
No, in the Star Wars area. Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
With
Where the
the
stormtroopers walk around.
stormtroopers
Yeah.
and
That
they
other
have
guy,
several
DeLorean.
characters.
They have them sometimes in Toy Story Land, right? They have the army men come
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, but they
march
don't
around
stop
with
and
the
do
drums.
pictures. They just
But
kind of march
it's kind of
through.
more of a march, right? It's kind
Yeah.
of more of a march through.
Yeah.
Where they're drumming.
At Disneyland, they like walk around and talk to little kids. Like they just have interactions with people. Like in Disney World, it's always a line to meet them. or
Yeah.
or they're like going somewhere. They
See,
don't
that's
stop.
what I remember as like a little kid at Disney World. Back in the 80s. They'd have the characters are just kind of walking around.
Universal, I think they just roam. I think all the characters at Universal roam around.
I've heard that. I haven't been to Universal in years. When I
Yeah.
worked at Comcast, we went all the time because it was free.
Have you ever
now,
been to
now
the
it's not
Halloween?
free, so we don't go.
Have you ever been?
No, but I've seen
my son
videos and
works there.
pictures.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would like it.
Yeah, the roaming characters that time scare me because they
Well,
change
I mean, that's
saws
the
and
point.
bounces and stuff like. Yeah, I know that's the point, but it's not Mickey's Very Merry.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not so
No,
scary.
it's scary. And you saw it this year at Universal for their Halloween after hours thing. If you didn't want to be scared, they sold you like this pendant
Yeah.
that you'd wear around your neck. And if the character saw the pendant, they would like about face and walk the other direction.
I just want that for people. Just walk around.
Well,
I
come on,
think
we had
that's the
2
one-
years of that.
The other way to do that is not buy a ticket and don't go.
Well, what fun is
Because
that?
That's no fun.
Well, I think it's a lot cheaper than
It is.
because I think if you bought the ticket and bought the thing, I think the thing was not cheap.
Yeah, it was like $50 or something.
Wait,
Those lines get
50 bucks to
crazy.
get-
My son works there and he goes, so he goes every year, but they've gone to the haunted house thing. But those lines, you might get to like 3 houses
Yeah,
in an evening. Like those lines get nuts.
Fun
You have to
during
be
the
there.
day.
yeah.
So, anyways, we're talking about the
Right.
Disneyland race,
Yes,
not
sorry.
Universal. Maybe we should
Right.
do a different episode on Universal.
We need to have a run there so that we could go and do it.
They used to.
Really?
They
Yeah.
used to. I know.
Yeah, I think they did up until COVID, and it just never came back. I'm in a couple of groups on Facebook for the Universal runs that are still like begging Universal to bring them back. Kind of like the Disneyland. They begged the Disneyland
now
organizers to bring it back.
Yeah, now that they have multiple parks, it seems like it would be something pretty awesome, right? To run.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool.
Because they're not, I don't think they touch each other. They got the water park and all the hotels and City Walk.
Yeah,
and
they have
everything.
like the boardwalky thing between them. Was that
The only
Riverwalk?
problem, if it was longer distance, they'd have a bit of a problem because they're so
Yeah.
on major highway. Like they don't have as much space around. That would be.
I mean, they can run out. No, they're by the convention center and
Yeah.
SeaWorld. Like those roads. I mean, you could easily do a half marathon out there.
That's the only reason I'll ever go back to Universal is if they do that.
There you go. All right. So
Anyways,
where did the 5K finish this year? Was it still in the Pixar area in
I can't
California
even remember.
Adventure?
I think so. I don't pay attention.
I think so.
I think, yeah, it did.
Yeah,
Kind of Cool.
when we did it, it finished there, and that I think was the first time John had gone to a Run Disney race with me was Dopey, and then he came for Dumbo, and he was very frustrated because the race organizers wouldn't let the spectators go to the finish line.
Right. Because it's in the park.
Right.
Well, no, they were still in the park because they could spectate in the park, but they were the specific spot that it was. They were concerned about overcrowding and not being able to move the runners through the area. And I think I heard that it changed last year, so spectators had a better time, but they held them off. So like you finished on like one side of the water and they were like observing from a distance at the other side. But when you're coming through like California Adventure and you make like that left towards the roller coaster, the spectators were allowed to be in like that little corner area. Kind of.
There weren't any spectators in the parks for the 10K or the half, I don't think.
No,
I
it was
don't
just the
think
5K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because with the finish line being in the park.
And the start line being in the park.
Right.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
there are spectators. Yeah.
Okay. And all right. So the 10K. So we talked about the 10K starting late.
It didn't
some.
start late. It started, Corral C started late.
Yeah, I was going to
So
say it
the
started
10K
on time
started
for
on
us.
time and then had a
There was a gap.
little intermission.
There was intermission, yes.
and we just to bring it up, we started in B. Well, Nancy didn't have to. Nancy
But she
joined
did.
us in B.
She did join
Nancy
us.
joined us in B. But if you did not put you were running a 7-minute mile, you were not in A.
And why
Then
didn't
we
you put
started
your
in
running?
B, and it was crazy to me. So, you go down and enter the street, and then you go left.
Yeah.
By the time we turned left, everybody was walking in front of
Really?
us.
Because that's only
Like
like a tenth of a
the
mile.
vast majority of people were
Just walk.
walking from the start.
The majority of the bibs were like A, D.
Yeah.
The challenge bibs in Corral A were A for the 10K, D or lower
Yeah.
for the marathon.
A lot
B,
more.
E, F.
So Brian Davis is going to be on the next podcast. And for those listening, if you don't know, he's one of the guys who has taken on the torch of analyzing the data from every race. So I'd be really curious to see how starting Corral compared to finished.
It'd be very interesting.
I want to know what like A to B, right? How many people in B passed? Because do you know, I can't remember his name, but the guy, he's Chad's friend that's really fast. I mean, really, really fast.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So I was talking to him on half marathon day, and I noticed his bib was the second letter was A and the first letter was A, but it was covered with a sticker. And he had originally been placed in the B corral. And we had heard they weren't changing anybody. And he told them, well, I think it was at Halloween, I came in third in the 10K.
Yeah,
So
we
I
had
would
that.
assume that I qualify for A, and they gave it to him, right?
Yeah,
But
we did that with Ashton one year. I was actually surprised Chad wasn't able to do that. Although the way
I'm
you
surprised.
approach it, the way you approach the way you approach him matters.
Yeah.
Because we said we're like with Ashton it was the half marathon, and we're like he came in 7th last year and he's trying to podium this year, and I think he ended up coming in 4th, and it was like, come on, guys.
Yeah. I will tell you the experience in B is a little bit different, but the start was not pushy.
So no sharp elbows.
No sharp. I didn't, and I was up against the ribbon starting with B. There was no sharp elbows. I was like, wow, I'm really running out in front of this crowd, but whatever. That was just the feel. And then you ran into the walkers and you're like, whoa, it's the whole street. Like the street is pretty wide there.
Very
and you
wide.
Ran into a street full of walkers where there was like one little lane over on the very left that you could run through to get around it. And I was so great.
We've heard about that, it being that way too at Disney World with folks in the front of B running into a wall of walkers in the back of A, which always surprises me because 5K aside, generally if you're in A, you earned your way in there.
Yeah.
Right. And I get it. Like there's always going to be some people who have run fast times to qualify and decide that race that they're not going to, or they're injured and they're still participating or whatnot. But in general, you wouldn't expect to see large crowds of people walking.
Walking, I don't get, because I did.
Yeah, I don't get the walk.
I walked the whole wine and dine races because I was injured, and I started in D, even though my bib said A, because why would I walk from A?
Well,
That's
but
what
that
I couldn't
was
figure out. There was so
it was
many.
you and a decision you took to move yourself back. Other people might view it differently.
But if you're in A, like you're not probably struggling to keep up a 16-minute mile. I feel like for the people
I
who
wouldn't expect so.
worry about where they're placed, it's because they're worried about like keeping pace or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Everyone I know who, excluding the 5K, which is its own weirdness, everyone I know who's like not in A, who's pining after A, is either wanting it because of the difference in the experience, right? Or wanting it because they're frustrated that they're starting in B or C and they end up running into a wall of people that they're faster than.
That's okay.
And I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's what proof of time is for, is so you don't run into a wall of people that you're faster than, hopefully.
Tony did ask them. And he said, because he was BA, and he asked about proof of time for the half, how that relates to the 10K. And they said, oh, no, we don't go backwards.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
They don't
no,
look for
they
time for this.
Tony tried to talk to them, I think, earnestly and got nowhere.
At Disneyland?
At
Yeah.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he spoke to a couple of people and didn't get anywhere.
Yeah, if you're talking to the people, my experience is if you're talking to the people who are at runners relations, they're not the right people to talk to ask that kind of question. That the other people are roaming around with the Run Disney jackets on.
I had the runner relations people help me once because I was doing something with Nate and I was in B and he was like in D. And I was like, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can get him moved up. And they did. They moved him up to B.
Yeah, they did that with my daughter as well. They were like, well, I don't understand why we're bringing her up to A instead of you going back to F. And that's when I'm like, well, here's my time and she's going to run with me. They eventually were like, okay, fine, we'll do it. But we don't like it, but we'll do it anyways.
They were nice to me. They were just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't trying to get him in A. I was trying to get him in B. But, but they were.
And I've had better experience with, I had one time where I was put in B, but my proof of time was A, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, fine, we'll fix it. And another where they put me into like F or G, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, I submitted a 30, what was it, a 1:38 half marathon time, and you put me in F or G or whatever it was. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, oh, that's us telling you need to come talk to us.
Yeah.
Because apparently if you put a proof of time in, but they're not able to access the link, then they put you in the last corral and expect you to come talk to them. So we learned that out that weekend. They're like, oh, okay, well, if we ever see a low corral, then we know, just go and wait in the 3-hour line to go talk to you to get it fixed. But they don't like to fix like the 5s.
Well, the question I have is, Sharon, how was the run though? Because you ran with your son.
It was so fun.
It was the 10K. It was the 10K. Yeah, just tell us. Give us the rundown.
You ran Disney. Your son was there at Disneyland.
Yeah. He did the 10K with me.
That's awesome.
It was super fun. We started at the beginning of B with you guys, and he's 12, so this is what happens when you run with a kid. He started out like a bullet, and I was like, okay, bud, let's take it easy. He was like, but I'm locked in, and I was like, but we're at mile 1. And so I got him to slow down a little, and then
was this his first 10K?
No, we've done a few together, but we haven't done one. I think the last one we did together was maybe a year ago. That's the one where I beat him, because usually what happens is we get to the end and I slow down for him most of the time. And then at the end, he will take off at like a 5-minute pace for like 50 yards. And so I'm like, I'm not doing that. But at the last 10K we did, we got to that point and it was just like a city block to get to the finish. And we just both sprinted out and I beat him. He was so mad.
Wait, so you didn't let him finish in front of you?
No, we're competitive. So
that's awesome.
This was the princess. This was Princess, right?
No, this was a local. This was a local 10K that he did with me.
Okay.
But he's only done one other Disney one with me before, but he had a really good time. I had a really good time running with him, and now he's old enough that like he can run. So like it was like a decent run.
That's awesome.
You do it again though, right? You do it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to bring. Well, and this totally worked out too, because I brought him to a couple of Disney races the year he was 10 years old, because he was still in elementary school, and I got him an annual pass that year, so he came to several. But then now he's in 7th grade, so it's like, bigger deal.
It changes.
School. Yeah, it's harder to miss school and stuff. So, but with Disneyland being the last one, I was like, I don't care. I'm taking him out of school. Well, we had Snowmageddon. So I took him to California, got 85-degree weather, and he didn't miss any school. It was perfect.
That's perfect.
That's awesome.
It worked out very well. Yeah.
Just wait till high school though. I had the it was a very hard conversation with me and my son when he's like, Mom, I can't miss the time off of school to go race with you. Which was sad because he was trying to win the Wine and Dine half this year. And then for him to back out, I was like, oh, he's serious about this one. So enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right. So the finish line for the 10K, is that still in a big parking lot?
Yeah. Same finish as the half. Same place.
Yeah,
Same.
same finish.
Is there any
almost where
entertainment
you
there
start.
now?
Yeah.
No, there is.
No, I was going to see when you said it's almost where you start. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Right next. It's right by the
Yeah.
start.
But entertainment, I didn't see any entertainment.
Now, the 10K, aside from the first mile, it was entirely inside the park, right?
It was like the first mile and a half and then the last mile.
And then the last to get out. Yeah.
To get out where you come up
Okay,
out.
so about 4 miles of it was inside the park.
Yeah.
Give or take.
It's still, in my opinion, that 10K is the best Disney run because it's almost all park. It's Disneyland. You see every land, maybe more than once, because it seemed like we doubled back a little bit into the Star Wars land a little bit at Galaxy's Edge. But if you had to pick a Disney race to do, that's like the one.
Okay, and let's talk about the half marathon.
I had in my mind the one we did in 2024, where we went out to the Honda Center and back, and it was not that at all.
Way better.
It was way better.
Well, that one we had a tour of the parking lot.
Yeah, this was not that. This
No.
was actually, I thought, the out of the park, with the exception of just up over the overpass at the very beginning outside the park. I thought the rest of it was really pretty interesting through parts of Anaheim I hadn't been through, and it's very enjoyable.
It was like a snake. There were out and backs, but it wasn't just like an out and back. It was more, it's hard to describe, almost like a figure eight, like you were going through this area. So there were times that there were two directions of traffic, but it wasn't exactly like you just turned around. It was like you made a left and then you went around and then you came back. So you couldn't even really tell where you were relative to the other side of the road, but it was big and wide. And I like in any race, actually. Like I remember doing the cherry blossom and seeing the starters, like the people who were like,
I love that.
That's like a huge national race. So there's people running like 4-minute miles and you get to see them go past you. And so I always enjoy that on both sides, like seeing the faster people or the slower people. I kept looking for you guys because I knew you would be running faster than me. So every time I was going past like a earlier part of the pack, I would be like looking to see if
I saw some of the earlier runners coming towards me, and I was like, "Are they almost done with the race?" And they were not.
They were not
because I was like, "We're like an hour in," and I'm like, "Wow, they're already running back." But it's just because you pass each other so many times that
it was cool. It was
like I saw Cindy running, one way, and so it was cool because you see people
love that on races.
Yeah, I do too. I really like it when you can do that, and so there's a ton of it. But not it didn't feel boring at all.
So I heard that they did something that we're not used to them doing on the half marathon, and they put in cheater mats.
So they were everywhere. They were
what?
There were
cheater mats. Timing mats.
Yeah, they had them. They had them strategically set up so that you could.
Yes, we're used to them being at like the 5K, 10K, and 10-mile mark.
Yeah, I was going to say they were at odd marks, though.
They just made it so you can't really cut the course without getting caught.
But it's because it was a snake-shaped course, right? There were so many spots you could have cut the course if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I heard anecdotally that they actually did catch quite a few people who cut the course and removed them from the results entirely.
Yeah. Well, I think they always do that, right? When they can tell from the timing mat that they've been
at Disney World though, they can't really tell from the timing mats because there's so few of them.
But like if you miss one, like if you miss the one at Blizzard Beach at Wine and Dine,
they keep you in. If you miss one mat but still finish, they keep you in.
Really? Okay, I thought they took you out. I thought that.
Yeah, because
have Brian confirm this next week because that's what I remember him saying that they changed that or something.
Yeah, so if you don't hit any except the finish line, my understanding is they'll pull you. But if you hit at least one before the finish, then you're in the results at World. But I mean, there's only like 4 timing mats. Dopey, not last year when they had all the issues with the bibs, but 2 years ago, my marathon bib, didn't scan at most of the mats. It scanned at the start line and it scanned at the 10-mile mat, but didn't scan at the 5K, the 10K, or the finish line.
Yeah. Well, then if that happens, then you have to like give them data. Like you have to show them.
Yeah, I had to send them.
All this
I had
stuff.
to send them my Garmin data.
Yep.
And the photo of me at the finish line. And the fabulous thing was my start. My clock time. My start clock time was 0.
Well, that makes it easier. Yeah.
And so the time on the board is my time. And they gave me a different time than the one that was on the board in the picture.
Weird.
I'm like,
Yeah, that is right.
The early marathon finishers, they take the picture from way back and you see the whole finish line, including the clock. And, so there's like me and the clock, and they gave me a different finish time than what the clock showed. And the clock and my watch matched within a couple of seconds.
Uncool.
So, yeah. And I was very unhappy because it was a PR race. And I'm like, I can't use that one because the changed time that they gave me was not a PR. So anyways, the half marathon course. So tell me about it.
It's the 10K plus that awesome Anaheim sneak.
So it was the 10K for the first?
Yeah, it was pretty much. I mean, they changed something in the park, a couple things in the park, but it was pretty good.
Basically the
So
same.
what about the Greg, when you and I ran it a few years ago, there was an issue coming out of the park. There was we're going out onto the promenade area, and there's like a neck down where they had put water tables there, and I guess at some point the traffic had come to a complete halt.
I think they had that problem this year.
They haven't had it since that first year. That first one back, they had that problem badly, but it hasn't happened since.
Did they reroute it through there or just didn't put water tables?
They moved
the water. They moved the water. Not far, but just so it wasn't in the neck down. I did think they had, or at least, once again, I'm probably not the expert on this, but I thought it was nice they had an adequate number of water stations once you got outside the park, right? I felt like I was never wondering.
Tell us why you claim not to be an expert on this.
Well, I stopped at I didn't stop, but I drank at every single one except the first one. So I do not know if they were further apart than normal or not, but I never felt like I was dying of thirst by the time I got to the next one.
I mean, but not that you would, but because we've, just so anybody listening knows, Greg didn't ever used to drink anything during races, and we've all harassed him into starting.
During races, yes, I do. During races now.
We're very proud of you.
We are. We're very proud.
But it was water. I have decided I really don't like the Powerade.
It is kind of gross.
It's gross, and it gets on me because I'm not a very good drinker.
I mean, I think if you were to get like super serious, which I'm not, but if you were to try to be and you do longer distances and run faster than me, you could do like the salt tabs and then the water to like at least.
And you do like salt tabs, which I did have salt tabs with me like on the marathon to take. Mm-hmm. But this one, I didn't take them with me even.
Well, I mean, it was a half and it wasn't hot, but.
It was a half. It was in the morning. The weather was perfect. That was the other thing. The weather was perfect for running. It was nice to have a Mylar before the race.
And after.
And even after. But for running temperature, it was good.
I think it was like 50 to 55.
Yeah.
Every day.
Beautiful.
My favorite thing, the half marathon, not my own run, but just about that race, was that the two of you, Nancy and Greg, ran together the whole time.
Not the whole time.
Nancy ran way past me.
No.
Nancy waited 3 minutes.
Bathroom break, and I came out at mile 10, and Greg comes up behind me, and then we ran the rest together. And then coming up at mile 11, Jill, there's like 2 hills in a row, and we're going up the second hill, and Greg goes, I really like this course. And I looked at him
under the railroad bridge?
Yes.
That one?
The second one. Well, we're going up the first one. I go, we have to do this again. He goes, yeah. But then we're going up the second one. He goes, I really like this course. And I looked at him. I was like,
I did like the course. I did part, but
yes, we had the exact same finish time.
Exact same finish time.
I mean, in fairness, most people don't like the uphill part.
Yeah. Well, it's like a V.
I was commenting to get us through the uphill part,
it
not
did. It
on
worked.
the uphill part.
It's going to get better.
And And let me just tell you, to keep up with I sped up
To keep up with Nancy.
to keep up with Nancy at least 30 seconds a mile.
Yeah.
If not 40 seconds a mile to keep up with her. And I was like, well, I guess I have it in me.
We're like, well, you're just going to make this work.
Well, because
So
it's
what
only
you're saying is
5K. It's a
you're a
5K.
faster runner than you think, but you need someone to pull you along.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought Greg was pulling me.
Oh.
No, not at all.
Nancy's
All right,
like,
well, that's an interesting dynamic if you both think that the other is pulling each other.
No way.
Nancy's like stealthy speedy. Like
Yes.
she's like wearing her little race shirt from a couple years ago and her little hat. Like you're like, she doesn't, she just looks like she's out for a nice little jog. And then she takes off like a bullet. And then you're like,
Yes.
it's like, it's
And when she
nothing.
passes you, I mean, it's just like, boom, she's gone.
Yeah, she's
She's the
just
fastest.
trots past you.
I know. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All
You
right.
kept up, Greg. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
it was very nice. But that's the
It
other
was
thing.
fun.
The race felt smaller.
Yeah.
This race feels, I think it is smaller, but not by a lot. I don't know how many people
Sure.
ran. That'll be an interesting fact, is how many people ran. But it feels smaller, probably because the park is smaller.
I
And I
mean,
think
Oh, it must be.
Sharon
must be.
touched on this in her podcast. It's just a different feel. I feel like, you're not getting a bus at 2:30. It is a more laid back feel to me. Getting to because you're walking to the race, you're walking to the corrals. It just, everything seems like a little lower key
Yeah, definitely.
beforehand.
Yeah.
Well, and when you were talking about the expo and how Nancy, you were in line and Greg's like still in his room texting you, that was you guys and me on the morning of the half marathon, because you guys got there and you were like, okay, we're in the security line. And I was like, I just got like up out of bed. Like I'm still in my pajamas.
But I'll be there. That was the
Yeah.
thing, is like my hotel, even though it was not the nicest hotel in Anaheim, it was literally, and I found this out later, it was like around the corner from security. I mean, it was a 5-minute walk to the security.
Nice.
I
That
walked there's another way you can walk, and it's a 20-minute walk to security. And that's what I did the first morning. But
Oops.
what is that one that like you cut through the gate?
yes, that's the one where you cut through the gate.
Yep. I know
But
the hotel you're talking about.
mine was over closer to like the garden walk or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think we stayed at the Disneyland Hotel,
That's a
which
walk.
was like just about as far away from the start line as you could get.
They have
it's-
shuttles now. They didn't have shuttles the time you did it, Jill, but since
It's only a 15-minute walk.
I know.
Do
That's
you
what
get to cut through? If you stay there,
Yeah.
do you get to cut through the...
You can, but you have to wait for
security.
you have to wait for it to open. And if you do, then you're probably starting in the back of the corral.
That's about.
Yes, probably.
But so that's the thing, though. Disneyland, no, you're not. I got there. These guys got into security at 3:30. I have a picture when I showed up at it was after 4. So the corrals had been open for like 40, 45 minutes. I walked right up to them. The corrals were not crowded yet.
See, I feel like when we did it, that A was very dense, at least at the front.
It was eventually, but it wasn't early.
Yeah.
People do
Mhm.
not get there early at Disneyland like they do at World. There's no characters ahead of time to see. There's not as much like logistical, what if the bus gets lost nonsense.
Yeah.
And I think some of the crowd might be... Well, no, that's probably not true, because people drive at Disney. I mean, I drive at Disney World. So...
Yeah, but I mean, at Disney World, I mean, you have to imagine that some healthy percentage of the field is staying on property and taking buses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Corral A and B, though, at Disney World is about equivalent to the total corrals at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Just
Really?
when you look at the volume, when you look at, you know what I mean, the volume of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
pen.
I mean,
It
what's
just-
the average half marathon at Disney World? It's like 14,000 finishers.
I have
plus or
absolutely no
minus.
idea. We need Brian Davis to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the
I mean,
10K,
I'm
there
going to
was...
throw it out there when I said that, it wasn't a question.
Okay.
It was a
14,000.
statement.
That was a statement. For Disney World, though.
For Disney World, Marathon Weekend is the biggest, and of the half marathons, and Wine and Dine is the smallest. I think Wine and Dine had almost 13,000 finishers last year, and I think it was almost 16 for marathon weekend for the half.
Okay. Like the 10K, I think there was like 8,600 finishers at Disneyland.
Wow, that's substantially smaller then.
So that's the 10K, right? So 10Ks
Yeah.
are usually a smaller race. I think the 10K is usually smaller than the half.
Usually.
But I don't know. I mean, once again, I don't have the stats in front of me, so.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited to have Brian on to talk about all these stats.
That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
I love the charts that he publishes. Like,
I don't even know them. They're like scatter plots. I don't.
It took me a little while to figure out like what he was plotting, but once you figure it out, it makes a lot of sense, like the format. But I love the fact that there's someone who actually enjoys doing that, to take the time, and then enjoys, or at least has the patience to answer all of the many questions that those charts inspire.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that he has been saying lately, I think since Wine and Dine, like this season, that they've gotten better about catching the course cutters, because he does a lot of like analysis of stuff to find how many people course cut and when they course cut. And I think I mean, you'll get to talk to him and we'll find out, but I'm pretty sure that they've gotten much better at it, and that they've made the timing mats more strategic, and they've taken people out of the results.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the Disneyland races when he says that.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he said it about Wine and Dine, but we'll see.
Does he look at statistically? Like, it's statistically impossible for a person that like the first 5K they ran an hour.
He's been really good at like developing. He developed a way to compare like between the limited number of timing mats at Disney World and figure out like if a person is likely to have cut. It's like, if you remember the Wine and Dine course a couple years ago, it went out on the highway and then it went like a quarter mile down and then did 180 and then went back like a mile and then did like a tenth of a mile, looped back to go up another ramp to head back. And so you had like this little like eye, and it'd be very easy to come down the ramp and make the left instead of the right and cut out a half a mile of course. And so he was looking at like between the timing mats, was there a sudden acceleration?
Yeah, well, he'll post things like, this particular runner did the first half at like a 15-minute mile, and then somehow from mile 6 to mile 9 they were doing a 5-minute mile according to the timing mats. Like, he looks at stuff like that to say like, so either they cut the course or wow, that was an impressive acceleration.
There's nutrition. They just got some nutrition in it. Like,
there you go. There you go.
They took a good in it and just
yeah. And he has a couple of runners that he watches that are known course cutters that he watches race over race to use as kind of a benchmark.
Well, so what
this
Disney
isn't the
does,
topic, but
Disney does now is they just remove them from the results.
They do.
I just don't know why you would.
I don't get that either.
I know. Why would you do that?
Even when I'm having a bad race, I'm like, well, maybe I get on the bus, right, and go home, right? But I wouldn't think about.
Does he check? Now, when I first started doing this, so maybe 2019 or so, when you did the challenge and you went through to get the medal, they used to check on the computer that you had done the 10K.
Yeah, they stopped doing that at COVID.
They stopped doing that after COVID, I think.
Yeah.
They don't. Yeah, so you would. I mean, that would be at least one potential reason to do it, I guess, is because you would get the challenge medal. I've also thought about that. Not that it would be like, I don't know why. I guess you could sell it, but like you could do Dopey and just like
do the marathon.
You could. You wouldn't get the 5K and the other like.
Dopey. If you
had a Dopey bib,
as long as you cross the start line for every race and finish the marathon, you'll get all the medals.
You would get them anyway, right? Because they don't check that you did the start line for the other races when you pick up the challenge.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, in order to get like the race medal, you'd have to cross the start line.
I also think that maybe they could do like for the 5K, since you can be 5 years old and be in the 5K, that maybe like if you're under 10, you start in C or later. Like because it always stresses me out seeing these little tiny people in the beginning of the 5K in A, where you're like, there's a guy behind you that might be running a 5-minute mile. And
Well,
you're
right. But as you described with Nate, they all take off like a bullet.
Some of them do, but 5-year-olds, not necessarily. Some of them stop and tie their shoe.
That's true. Some adults do that as well. So before we got started, you said, don't get me started on the corrals. So, I'm going to ask. Let's talk more about the corrals. So I think everyone had split bibs except Nancy, right?
Mhm.
I didn't either, but I went back to B I had AA also.
Okay.
You did? I
Yeah.
didn't know you did.
And not represented here, Tony had a split bib, which he was unhappy about.
Never mind. I'm wrong. I did. I had a BA. Nate had A. So he moved back. I knew one of us had to.
Okay.
I was going to say, I knew he did. He had an A.
He had an A.
That's because he takes off like a bullet.
Right.
He could
Did
have
our
done it.
friend, did our
Mm-mm.
No.
He would have had a hard time because it was bib mayhem.
And Tony was BA. But
Yeah.
there were a lot, like Greg said, of AD.
AF but see, that doesn't make sense to me that you're
Really?
that you I'm like how do you arrive at the conclusion that someone should be an A for the 10K but F for the half marathon?
They explained it if you asked, which Tony did, which is the 10K. They didn't even consider what your half marathon was at all. They didn't even look. Separate things altogether, not even related. So the
They just
10K
checked
was
the box you bubbled in.
doesn't matter. 10K was just what you said. So it does not matter. If you said you're going to run a sub 7-minute mile, they believed you and put you in A. And then if you didn't have a proof of time, then you were in something else.
And it's still Track Shack that does Disneyland, right?
I actually don't know.
I don't know.
I know the first one was Track Shack, but I really didn't keep up with that.
It
I mean,
might-
I thought that it wasn't actually any different the way that they do it at Disneyland, Disney World. I mean, I always thought it was the same thing, that they do it based on your whatever you put in for the 5K and the 10K, because there isn't time.
This time when we registered for the Wine and Dine, when you said you were going to run a fast half, like right under 2.5 hours, then you had to put in your proof of time, and there was a little box that popped up that said your 10K placement will be based upon your proof of time.
Yeah,
of your
I
half.
saw that.
Yeah. That's new.
So you could not. So if you were doing the challenge, you couldn't choose, right?
You could end up with a whatever.
Yeah, I saw that change, and I was not unhappy to see that.
No, because what that would mean is if you didn't have a proof of time, your 10K would not be able to be based on the fastest 10K time.
Yeah, for the challenge. So if you weren't doing the challenge, I don't know what happens. So
Mayhem happens.
Mayhem. People lose their minds. It's like emotion when everybody's the little red guy.
Yes. Like Inside Out.
We've seen some people get very upset about their corrals.
People get emotional. It's emotional. It's emotion.
Which seems to be like a uniquely Disney thing. And I think it's because of the whole character situation. Because if you go to a majors, they give you a time slot that you're going to start and you just show up and do it.
Well, I mean, I've never done a major except Boston, and that was well before any of this existed. But the Peachtree Road Race, which I do every year, which is like a pretty big giant race, they have corrals, and they have like, it's similar. Like you put in a proof of time, but then there's different things you can, like if you're part of the Atlanta track, whatever it is, the area, you get bumped up in the corral. Or if you participate in their like charity and you donate to it, then you get bumped up in the corral or a guaranteed corral placement of whatever.
Yeah.
So they have all that stuff, but also the degree of like anybody checking that carefully is much less.
Yeah. I think that's uniquely a Disney thing, is the corral police.
Well, the corrals are also, at least, so I've only ever done like the rock and roll ones or the other races I've done.
They couldn't.
There's a piece of police tape between the A corral and B corral, which is usually stepped on, and
it's the same.
It's not well.
Most of the Philadelphia races are all corralled, and there's multiple different race organizers. but sometimes it's not even clear which side of the barrier is which corral.
Yes.
Because you'll have a flag, and we've learned that at the Philadelphia races, the flag is at the back of the corral, because you'll have like a flag and an entrance and a barrier, except the barrier, it's like a cloth barrier that the volunteers hold up, except the barrier doesn't get raised until maybe 20 minutes before the start of the race. After that, you can just basically just keep walking down the street right into the elite corral. I think the elite and seeded corrals are the only ones that are really kind of closely monitored. The other ones, I started in I think like what would be the equivalent of the Disney B corral for one of the recent races, and there was someone who started next to me who was in the equivalent of like a Disney G corral.
Yeah, that happened to me at Peachtree a bunch.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people around that were in like,
Yeah, it's like it's honor system, and I get like with Disney, the majors though they're pretty strict on it.
Correct. Yeah, I would guess so.
Yeah, I know at London they gave us like 5-minute windows, and you could start later but not earlier, and they were very like more than Disney is.
well, that would be, I mean, they could do it that way if they want, like a race could do it that way, and they could say if you start before you're supposed to, like if you had like at Disney, for example, if you had a D bib and you started right at 5, that they'd be like, well, now you're disqualified. You know what I mean? Like they could do that if they wanted to make it really strict.
I haven't heard of any races doing that.
Talk to Chad.
Maybe some should start.
We
Those
can
are
make
the elite of the elite races.
But it reminds me, like the other not Disney races, sort of loosey goosey, remind me of back in the day. Because back in the day, like there was not like racing was so much more chill, and like it was like I remember starting Marine Corps Marathon, and there was just little signs up, and you just decided where you wanted to start based on the pace you thought was probably a good pace for you, and you could just pick that day.
Yeah, but think about it. This is a great sport that has, and COVID was part of it, but it's grown like exponentially in the last decade and a half. Think about like the New York and London marathons. They're 4 times the size they were 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the number of, the majors, the number of people who are getting into the lottery has increased like tenfold, almost year over year for the last few years.
Well, that's my plan to never run a marathon again, is all I'm going to do is enter lotteries for majors. So I'm never doing one again.
So I started off the podcast asking the question, would you do it again? And all 3 of you said pretty emphatically, yes, you would.
For sure.
Now, if there's one thing that you want them to fix when it comes back, what would it be? The expo.
Make it bigger.
I'm going to say security. Security when you go to the races. It was still, we didn't talk about it, but it was a mess.
Not if you arrived at 4. It was super easy.
Not if you showed up at 4, but if you sat there and waited for an hour, they closed and opened places, told you, oh, you're in a line that's not going to open, so move to another one, only to bring people up around right before they opened the gate that had arrived at 3:25 instead of 2:30. So,
well, that would be very annoying.
It was annoying. But
the
race itself, I don't really. I don't know what I would change.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a very different conversation than we would have had 2 years ago. I think there was a lot of learnings that they've taken since then and implemented. I'm still really sad that I didn't get to run this one, but even the charity gods were like, nope, this one's not for you.
3 years. We'll hope it's only 3 years.
Yeah, let's hope it's only 3 years. I will be out there if it is. Do another Dopey to Dumbo.
Yeah.
And it was much easier doing Dopey to Dumbo.
Now.
With the gap, right? What was it, 2-week gap?
Yeah.
It's a 3 week, wasn't
3
it?
weeks,
or was it 3 weeks?
Yeah.
3 weeks. It was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, the first year.
That's quite a lot of recovery.
Yeah.
All right.
Everybody was much faster. I think everybody's time was greatly improved between the two.
Well, I mean, you would expect that with 3 weeks of recovery.
versus like 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Assuming that you actually were like taking active recovery and getting right back into training.
So it was good.
All right. On that note, thank you all for joining. And for our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation, which may have taken a few unexpected twists and turns along the way, please like and subscribe. And if you are not on a streaming platform, it's fierce.li/podcast. All right. See you next time.